Ngiyabonga. Pasivalile.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
There's it. This is where technology fails you at the best of times. Welcome to the final episode of News 24 Town Hall. My name is Qaanitah Hunter. I'm the political editor of News 24, and I'm your host today. For the last 4 weeks, we have brought together local leaders of prominent political parties in the different metros to discuss what they're offering voters and how they will solve the problems of residents. This week, we are in eThekwini. I'm joined by the representatives from the ANC, the EFF, the Democratic Alliance, and the IFP. From the EFF, we have Vusi Khoza, from the ANC, Tabani Nyawuse, the DA's Nicole Graham, and from the IFP, Mdu Nkosi. Thank you very much for joining us, ladies and gentlemen.
Hi, Qaanitah. Thank you.
All right,
Thank
we'll
you.
begin the discussion by affording each political party representative 90 seconds to introduce themselves and indicate to our viewers this afternoon what you are offering them in the eThekwini municipality. But just to know the rules of discussion, we will stick to time. 90 seconds means 90 seconds. Each political party leader will have a chance to talk. We will not talk over each other, and we will respectfully disagree with one another. We'll start with the incumbent ANC. Tabane, who are you and what are you offering voters?
I'm a
You
member
muted.
of. You
You can go ahead.
can hear me?
Yes.
Yes, my name is Chabane Nyause. I'm the member of the ANC eThekwini Regional Task Team. As the ANC for this local government election, we have pledged to deploy honest and competent councillors. We have also pledged and committed ourselves to appoint men and women who will be very serious and committed on service delivery, and also have pledged that we are going to build safer and healthier communities. We have pledged to avail ourselves to our people, to listen and have open channel of communication. We've pledged to remain accountable. We have also pledged that we are going to fight corruption, nepotism, and all malfeasance in our organization and at local government level. We have pledged again that we are going to stimulate the local economy and fight crime. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Nicole Graham from the Democratic Alliance. What are you offering voters?
Thanks, Qaanitah, and thank you for having me. I'm the current leader of the opposition in council. I've been a councillor since 2011, and I'm the current member of the executive committee in the city. This election fundamentally will be a decision between the DA and the ANC in this municipality. For the first time since 2000, the ANC will come under 50%. This is indicated by a variety of polling, including polling done by your organization, that shows that the ANC is currently sitting on 31%, with the DA, the biggest party, at 33% on intention polling a week before the elections. So what's really critical here is which political parties will be able to build a new government in eThekwini. Any resident in the city can tell you that since 2016, things have completely fallen apart. That's a direct consequence of the mismanagement and incompetence and corruption of the African National Congress. The Democratic Alliance has a track record, one, on the key issues that affect eThekwini, which we'll unpack later on in this debate, and two, on running competent governments that spend the money on the right things, don't steal the money, and can deliver services to more South Africans. And that's fundamentally what people need to decide. Are we happy with how we're living, or do we want something different? And if we want something different in eThekwini, who can deliver it to us? I believe it's the DA.
All right. The EFF, Vusi, what are you offering voters?
Greetings to the viewers and greetings to the panelists and to yourself. As the Economic Freedom Fight, my name is Vusi Khoza, I'm the provincial chairperson of the Economic Freedom Fighters. As the Economic Freedom Fighters, our slogan for these elections is land and jobs mind today. You will see that in eThekwini, because of the two factions, that of Thabani Nyaose, who's a panelist here, and Zandile Kumete, has brought the eThekwini municipality to its knees. The municipal manager is out on bail together with the former mayor Zandile. For the last almost a year, there's no deputy mayor eThekwini. So everything has actually collapsed. Now the EFF is here to say we need to give land and dignity to our people so that they can have housing, so that we can have industrialization. We need to give our people water and electricity. The indigent must access these resources for free. And we will do everything within our power to fight and root out corruption so that those that are perpetuating corruption go where they belong, which is prison.
All right, Mdu from the IFP, you have 10 seats, two more than the EFF. I'm sure you'd want to retain those seats and get more, perhaps. What are you promising voters?
Thank you. Good afternoon also to the colleagues in the studio. As IFP, we are very clear that this seat needs leadership of integrity. The factions of the ANC have collapsed this municipality. As IFP, we wanted to ensure that people get what they deserve. The city controlled billions, but people of eThekwini are not happy. Every day, there are no services, there are no electricity, waste has not been collected, we said people of eThekwini need to be safe. If you look around, it's only city that have people who sleep in the verandas, in the street, and people who are robbing the citizens of eThekwini. We need to profile these people so then we make sure that the city is safe. And also the RMS billing system, it's killing people. Pensioners cannot afford to pay what has been charged by the municipality. As IFP, we are saying we need to change all what is there because of the ANC. It is true that the divisions within the ANC have caused this municipality to be unstable, whereby they even failed to elect their deputy mayor, yet there are 126. As IFP, we said we will continue ensuring that there is no corruption. We wanted a municipality which is corruption-free, because the officials and also ANC councillors have been charged of the corruption.
Yeah.
Now we are the leader of the integrity.
All right. So the eThekwini Metro Municipality is run by the ANC. The party won 126 of the 219 municipal council seats in the 2016 local government elections and won another in the 2018 by-elections. Other parties, the DA has 60 seats, the IFP 10, the EFF 8, AIC 3, independent candidates have 4, and then the ACDP, the African People's Convention, the Al Jama'ah Democratic Liberal Congress, Minorities of South Africa, Minority Front, and Truly Alliance each have 1 seat in the council. So that's a picture of what the council looks like. Now, the municipality's former mayor and city manager are in court on charges of fraud and corruption relating to a 2017 tender, which probably puts us or points where we need to start this discussion today. Tabani, has the ANC's factionalism and its complicity in corruption affected service delivery in the eThekwini municipality? Let's start with you.
Thank you very much. I'm sure members of the panel from political parties will agree with me if I'm saying, although there are challenges in the ANC in the region, but that have not affected service delivery. As I'm talking to you today, we are sitting at 83.9% of people who have access to basic level of water in the eThekwini municipality, delivered by the ANC. We have people who are receiving free basic services. We are sitting at 80% of those people who are poor getting free basic services. Now, divisions in the ANC have not stopped or affected the municipality in rendering quality of services to our people. Those are a few things in terms of water I've mentioned. Therefore, the issue of the arrest of the city manager, Zandile, corruptions, factions, the ANC, have got nothing to do with delivery of services. As I'm mentioning few examples, we've built houses. We continue even after the former mayor was recalled. We've built roads in Ward 8, Ward 9. We've built houses. If you go around the city, services have been rendered. Let me correct one or few things. There's no place in the eThekwini municipality where the waste collection or the city is not being cleaned. It's not true. But the problem that we are having is that there are areas where cleaning service is being rendered by the very same citizens whom we have the responsibility as an ANC-led government or municipality to educate our citizens to keep their communities, their towns, and their areas clean. But as I'm talking to you now, there's no area in the municipality where cleaning is not being provided.
Nicole, I would imagine that you're shaking your head quite vociferously as Tabani is saying that ANC factionalism in the eThekwini municipality does not affect service delivery. What is your take?
Well, I absolutely don't agree. I'm not sure why he thinks we would agree. ANC factionalism and ANC corruption has completely destroyed the eThekwini Metro. In fact, Mr. Nyawose himself is a senior manager in the housing department. He's not an ANC politician as we speak, so I'm interested in what capacity he's here. But the reality is that service delivery in the city has collapsed. Because from 2016, what we saw is that the ANC managed to stick their finger into every single land department and completely dismantle whatever good systems existed to their own ends. That's the basis of the case against Zandile Gumede, Sipho Nzuza, and there's lots of other councillors, officials, and service providers that were involved. And that's why the level of services have declined so rapidly. This municipality cannot account for 54% of the bulk water that it buys from Umgeni Water. We buy the water and it either gets lost or stolen, and we've got, the smaller and smaller pool to sell to consumers and to provide services to people. DSW is a classic example because the city is filthy, and for weeks on end, many communities don't have refuse services. This is a direct consequence of politics. That is the nature of what happens at the local level. The same things happened in the housing department where Mr. Nyawose works. Despite having ample budgets available, the city's only managed to deliver 7,000 title deeds in the last 4 years, and every year under-delivers on its housing budgets, but manages to blow on its housing targets, but manages to blow the budgets. So anybody who thinks things are going fine in eThekwini and what's happened in the ANC does not affect the people of the city certainly is not living in reality. The ANC have repeatedly collapsed council because of their own faction battles. They can't elect a deputy mayor. There's absolute chaos, and it affects ordinary people, not just the ANC.
Vusi, that was, two stark sort of realities, one from the ANC and one from the DA in terms of what is life like in eThekwini. How do you see things? If you can unmute, please, Vusi.
The way we see things is that, one, the ANC is supposed to be in power, but instead of being in power and running the municipality, they are involved in power struggles amongst themselves. The DA being an opposition, they are useless in terms of holding the ANC to account. For Nyawose to come here, who is an official, who is supposed to be at work at this time, but is here debating politicians, it's exactly this thing that we are saying, that it's collapsing the municipality, the cadre deployment. Is an ANC cadre deployed there to go and collapse the housing department, facilitate corruption where houses that are supposed to be going to citizens of eThekwini end up going to friends. Let me make an example. There are people, by law, people need to stay in transit camp for 6 months. If we were to stretch it a year, there are people that have been staying in transit camps for almost 15 years in Spingo, Lamontville, Chatsworth, and other areas. Why? Because houses, when they are built, instead of those people being prioritized that are displaced and staying in transit camp, they are given to their friends and their cadres, etc., etc. I can tell you now that ANC factions hinder, it's two things that collapse eThekwini: ANC factions and ANC corruption. To say that the city is being cleaned, Nyawose is not living a reality. Well, maybe if he's staying in the lily white suburbs like Nicole, he won't notice that there's no cleaning. But he must go to Katomena here. He must come to my village in Umugababa. He must go to Lamontville. He will see filth on the streets as a reality. You can't have a situation where you can't elect a deputy mayor because you can't agree amongst you as factions. You can't have a situation where the municipal manager and senior managers are out on bail for corruption. The 250 Hawks have now confirmed is almost 400 million that was looted by Zandile and some councillors and some officials, was meant for a tender of waste removal, by the way, which never happened, but the money was spent. You can imagine that's just one part where they were caught. Can you imagine how much where it's never been caught?
Yeah. You've bemoaned a lot of the same things that Nicole and Vusi have said now in terms of the state of the municipality. What do you think can be done differently?
official, Mr. Nyawos. He doesn't know what he's talking about. I understand he always in the office as an official. Mr. Nyawos, I think the ANC made a mistake by sending you here because you don't know eThekwini. Go to what 98 and C road, they are terrible there. Go to what 3, etc., etc. If you are talking about the city that is clean, maybe you are living in another country. The city is filthy dirty. The waste has not been removed in many townships areas. Even here in the city center, it's dirty. But it is true that within a political party where there are divisions, you cannot find a stable municipality because that will mean those people cannot even agree into their caucuses. And we have seen so many council meetings which are supposed to take decisions with regards to service delivery. You will find that ANC is in the caucus until the time for the meeting will lapse. Now, we need to ensure that we remove these corrupt people. There are cadre deployment which is proceeding, happening almost every time, whereby people like Nyawos, as he's supposed to be at work, he's here debating with us as politicians. This is what we are talking about as IFP for quite a long time, that what is corrupting this municipality is to have a person employed by the municipality, yet he's got another position in the ANC. And we have seen it, viewers, that this is what is happening. We need people who will be ensuring that they are coming to service people, not for political agenda. That is what ANC is doing. They don't care about people of eThekwini. Why failing? Controlling billions. They are failing.
Tabani,
these people need to be removed.
Tabani, I mean, you need to explain. You are a senior manager in the municipality, and you're now representing the ANC. How do you respond to the allegations of cadre deployment and its consequences in service delivery in the municipality?
Thank you very much. Let's call it a few things.
Yeah.
I was not deployed by the ANC in the kind of work I'm doing. I was employed based on my qualifications and the skills, experience, or expertise I have as a senior manager in human settlement responsible for hostels. Currently, I'm here representing the ANC as a member of the ANC in the region, or as a leader of the ANC.
Exactly.
I'm not at work.
That's what you're saying.
I'm not at work because I'm on leave. And if I can ask my colleagues to refer me to any policy or law or legislation that prevents council employees to join political parties, to be active in the life of their political parties, it is my democratic right to be a member of any party. I chose to join the ANC, and the ANC have sent me today here to represent it. And if you check at work, I've been authorized not to be at work because I've got my right as an employee in council to request a leave if I want to be in work. And there are records. They can be checked at the office.
Tabani, to say, I mean, can you weigh in on the specific assertion that cadre deployment is what is at the heart of the problems in the municipality, where people are serving the ANC and not serving the communities that they're meant to?
You see, the question, they were referring to me as part of a person who was deployed, who have contributed in collapsing human settlement in the city. That's what I'm denying. There are no facts in that regard. Where I'm working, I was not deployed. I've never contributed in any collapse. Mtungu also knows very well, but I work with him in my unit. He can give me an example while executing my duties as a senior manager, working with Councillor Nkosi, where I've acted as a deployee of the ANC and collapse systems. Instead of that, I'm proud of the work that I've done in hostels, transforming hostels in the municipality, personal. But the cadre development in the ANC, if there are such cases, they can bring it forward and give us evidence. But let me conclude by saying that on issues of leaders of the ANC who are alleged to be involved in corruption, in the city. The police have acted. People have been arrested. The ANC has acted. The former mayor currently is being processed by the court of law. Now, to come here and blame the ANC on the issue of the city manager and the former mayor is unfair, because the ANC government has acted. But the point I'm making, those arrests, those decisions to recall the former mayor, I'm repeating here, have not affected service delivery in the city. As I'm talking to you today, people are getting water. But let me conclude by saying that I've accepted that in some areas, there are challenges. I've never denied that there are parts of the city where you will find that cleanliness has not been done. But what I'm saying to you, there are 3 shifts that are cleaning the CPD.
Right, yes.
From 5 in the afternoon till 5 in the morning, people are deployed there, they're cleaning. What I've said, in some part of the CPD, why it's dirty is because our people need to be educated to keep their area clean and to manage waste. Yes.
Vusi, I'm going to come to you. I want to spend the second half of this discussion to talk about what the political parties are actually promising voters, because I think that will be very important to unpack how we could actually make the city better. But Vusi, let me come to you. You shaking your head vehemently. What do you have to say? Unmute, Vusi.
I'm saying, Qaanitah, I'm flabbergasted by what Nyaos is saying. He's saying that he's proud of the work that he has done. Does he even understand the filth that we call hostels? It's a dump. It's not good for any human habitation. You can go to Kwamash Hostel. You can go to Gliplands, which had become a slaughterhouse. Muerane Commission spoke and pronounced itself on what was happening in Gliplands. All the hostels are a dump. And for him to say the ANC has acted, the ANC, yes, has acted. You know what they've done? They've brought back people that are out on bail. They didn't charge them. But lastly, the most disgusting thing that the ANC has ever done, which he calls action on corruption, they promoted the former mayor, removed her from being a mayor because she's charged. They promoted her. She's now a member of the provincial legislature. Is that dealing decisively with corruption? The answer is no.
I want to talk about, yes, Nicole, you can go ahead.
I think it's important here to examine track records. And I think, what Mr. Nyaose said is shambolic, and I don't think it needs a response. But I think we also need to look at what political parties have done on council for the past 5 years. I'm
going to come to that, Nicole. I want to just talk about 2 things very quickly. And the first thing is political killings in eThekwini, and the other thing is the July unrest, before we talk about the actual track records in the municipality and what you are promising voters. Let me come to you quite quickly. There's a report that emerged around the city of eThekwini spending about 70 million rand on protection for its councillors over 3 months of this year, and it's not making any difference because eThekwini is the political killing capital of South Africa. Do you think that political killings stop? Do you think that enough is being done?
We are here where we are. It's because leaders that has been elected in the ANC are not here to serve the community. They are here to enrich themselves. These political killings that we're experiencing are within the ruling party. And Mr. Nyaos is denying that there is no disturbance of rendering services. By having these political killings, it is a witness that there is a problem in the ANC. We need to ensure that voters remove these people. After 27 years, we're still talking about that there are no services in the eThekwini. There are no cleanliness. There is no cleanliness in the eThekwini. People are still protesting. He's talking about hostels. The hostels, if you go there, he's trying to be bold and talk about, you go there, my sister. Maybe when you come back, you'll not even eat your supper. because
Yeah.
of the situation that is in the hostels there. But
Just to jump to Nicole very quickly, I want to talk about the July unrest and what have you seen, the consequences of it now when you're campaigning for this elections. How badly have residents of eThekwini and Durban have been affected by the July unrest, and can you still see the aftermath?
Look, absolutely. The economy of the city has been in trouble since before COVID and since before, what happened in July. And what happened in July really put the coffins in the nail of our city's economy. And I think that there was this really collective, scary experience for people because the state security apparatus, Metro Police, were unable to look after people. And I think that that's a jarring experience, but it also built strength in communities and I think put power back in people's hands to say, you can't rely on the government. Things aren't going to change unless you change them. And we've seen a big uptick in positivity amongst, while we're on the campaign trail, people saying, we're not happy with these circumstances. We don't want to live like this anymore. We need a government that can do more for us. We want to rebuild the city and we want to get things moving again. So absolutely what happened in July, the responses of the state and the responses of the politicians in office was jarring for people. And I think it's had a lasting impact on our communities. But at the same time, it spurred people into action and into wanting to build a better city that is delivering more, is able to protect people, but also has a more viable economy. And I think that's really at the heart of many of our problems. Corruption, poor infrastructural upgrades and development, and a lack of faith that the city has the best interest of its people at heart have meant that investor confidence is at an all-time low. People don't want to do business in Durban. It's expensive to do business in Durban, and they're taking their business beyond our municipal boundaries. And that's what we need to get right. And hopefully there will be some kind of benefit to us because communities have been galvanized and people have realized that you can change things when you work together with people who share your values and ideas.
But we can't talk about what happened in July without talking about the racial unrest that emerged and the tension that was exacerbated. The DA, obviously at the center of a storm with those posters in Phoenix. Vusi, do you think that this election will play any role in bridging those gaps in communities like Phoenix, where we saw such devastating racial tension? Unmute, Vusi.
I don't think so. I doubt. As long as you still have got the likes of DA stoking those racial fires by declaring murderers as heroes and saying nothing about the victims, that exacerbates the situation. But it would be amiss of us not to put the matter into proper perspective. The July riots is an ANC mess. All of us as communities and society were caught in an ANC factional battle, the battle between the Zuma faction and the Ramaphosa faction. They started this mess, and most of us were caught into this mess. I can boldly stand here and say this mess was created by ANC, and all the 300 lives that were lost, that must be placed squarely on the shoulder of the ANC. We can say the ANC killed more than 300 people in July 2021 because this is their mess. And the ANC must come here and tell us, how do we then rebuild the country after they've destroyed it for factional reasons? I want to touch a bit on the issue of political killings. Again, if you look at the issue of political killings, it's a waste of taxpayers' money protecting councillors. If people feel that their lives are not safe, they must leave council. They must leave their jobs and go and look for jobs where they're not threatened. We can't have a situation where 70 million is spent in 3 months protecting councillors against who? Against who? It's against factional battles again, because that's where it is. So we're saying people, if they feel unsafe, they must leave council. Let's take the money, put it back to service delivery. We're not here to protect people. It's ratepayers' money, taxpayers' money that should go to service delivery. If they feel unsafe, they must leave.
Thabani, let's talk about service delivery. The Metro's two most recent audits have received unqualified with findings, opinions in the
Can I say
2020.
something on the July
2019.
unrest?
Let's just go to Thabani. We'll come back to you, Mdu. But to say that, so the Auditor General had given the municipality unqualified with findings, opinions in the 2019-20 report. It noted billions of rands in irregular and unauthorized expenditure. How are you going to deliver efficient services when you still have this level of irregular and unauthorized expenditure, Thabani?
Yeah, yes, it's true. We are aware of those findings. That is why in this local government, we have pledged that we are going to deploy competent councillors who are committed in rendering quality of service to our people. But at the same time, we have also committed ourselves to appoint skilled, competent, qualified officials who will do the work. Those people have to be disciplined. And we are going to improve as well on political oversight to make sure that city manager, DCMs, heads of unit, senior manager, they do comply with the relevant regulations so that moving forward, we minimize or we prevent the irregular and wasteful and fruitless expenditure. That is our commitment, and it will happen.
All right, Mdu, you wanted to weigh in on the July unrest. I want to pose a subsidiary question to you is, what would you do differently to deal with the aftermath? Should the IFP get into office, what would you do to help resolve the problems that were exacerbated by the July unrest?
Firstly, it's important that if you are a leader, you mind what you are saying. The current mayor was on social media all over saying we are Msholozi is ours, which is true that this is an ANC agenda, which have created a problem in eThekwini that we have lost so many lives, more than 300. We have lost so many jobs. They have burned the country into ashes. But it's important that you ensure that you go back and talk about social cohesion, because what happened in Phoenix, it's uncalled for. The situation there requires leadership to say to the people, let us remember that we are living in one country. And again, as an IFP, we'll ensure that the issue of employment is not for cadre deployment, because we are in this situation because there are people like Thabani Nyawose, who knows that I'm a member of the ANC anyway, I will be promoted, even though I'm not qualified. We need qualified people to be in the positions so then they render services, ensure that there are no irregular expenditure, wasteful expenditure. We have so many irregular expenditure because officials are not fit in those positions. They cannot plan properly because you got those unqualified and also wasteful expenditure because you failed to budget properly. So as IFP, we wanted to ensure that it must be job for everyone, not for IFP members who will be not be qualified, as we see it in the ANC.
Nicole, you are proud of your track record as the leader of the opposition in eThekwini. What are you offering voters in a sense of in reference to your performance as an opposition party?
Well, I think what's important, like I mentioned just now, is not only being able to say the ANC stuffed this up, but how are we going to fix it? And I think what we've done over the past 5 years as the Democratic Alliance is that we've used every mechanism available to us. Council questions and motions. We've submitted almost 300 council questions in the last 5 years. We've used the law enforcement agencies where they exist to report and follow up on matters. We've used the media and social media to engage with voters and ensure we were on top of things. We've been on the ground engaging with people. And there's a lot of political parties who are making big promises at this point, but have absolutely nothing to show for the past 5 years. And that's where I wanted to weigh in earlier, because I was interested to hear Mr. Khoza say that the DA has been a useless opposition. The EFF's last 5 years in office in eThekwini has been disastrous. They fired all of their councillors halfway through the term, something to do with a cell phone allowance that went missing. They've submitted one council question. They abstain on absolutely everything. They've had no major positions or press conferences or any kind of information on anything. And they haven't been to council for the past 4 months. So if this is a fight for the future of eThekwini, the EFF haven't even made their way to the boxing ring, let alone put up any big fights that they're now talking about. But our promise as the DA and our focus is really on building a coalition government that gets the basics right. This used to be a municipality that could run with a relative degree of stability. And that includes ensuring that there's quality customer service on issues like billing and our call centers, that we stabilize and maintain our water and electricity infrastructure, including looking to alternative technologies to mitigate the effects of the national ESCOM issues, that we urgently implement solutions on public transport where the city is nowhere. We still don't have any integrated rapid public transport network, the RPTN buses, running at all, despite it being launched in 2013. There's chaos in literally every department. What we need to do is spend the money where it needs to go, get people working to understand exactly what communities need, and stop deploying useless people and useless contractors who can't do the work. We've got the solutions. We've been proposing them for the last 5 years. We've been doing the work for the last 5 years. All we need is to be in government to get that job done.
Yeah, Vusi, your leader, Julius Malema, and other national party leaders have said that eThekwini is where the EFF wants to rule outright. They govern outright with outright majority there, and they think it's possible. But your councillors have been MIA from council for the last 4 months. What gives? Unmute yourself, Vusi.
Let me just state that
you muted again. You can go ahead after you unmute yourself, Vusi.
Yeah, I'm saying it's unfortunate that the likes of Nicole have appointed themselves like boarding school matron, minding other parties' businesses. We are a party, we work with our people. We can't be sitting there in municipality and eating free food when our people are suffering on the ground. We are on the ground, we work with our people, we can account for all our councillors as to what they were doing. We are building an organization. But lastly, we can assist her as to why we changed councillors. We expelled councillors for misappropriation of constituency fund. We don't play. We don't promote people for corruption. We expel them. So half of our councillors, we expel them and we replace them. And that's the right thing to do. We are going for everything in eThekwini. We believe that the EFF will win this municipality outright, and we will be able to right the wrongs that have been done by the ANC over time. Because the first issue, for instance, EFF, we are centered on 7 cardinal pillars. Pillar number 1 is expropriation of land. There's a lot of land that is lying fallow here, but there's no land to bury our people. Our people must pay for a grave, taxed when they are alive, taxed when they are dead. EFF is going to abolish all the free graves because we're going to expropriate land. Water for the indigent must be free. Electricity for the indigent must be free. The EFF is going to take over this municipality and begin to restore the dignity of the Black child in particular.
You have to come to to do that.
There's a possibility that eThekwini would go the route of coalitions like we saw in Tshwane, like we probably would see again in the city of Johannesburg. If the IFP has to choose, let me put you on the spot here, between working with Thabane and his team or working with Nicole and her team, which way would the IFP? I'm saying let's talk a hypothetical. Which way the IFP would go?
Well, let me say that the issue of whom to work with, it's not a decision of us as a local leadership, but we will take all what has been proposed to the national leadership. However, IFP is open to any collision in order for our people to get service because people of eThekwini have been suffering. I must say that for past 5 years, we have been very strong into fighting with the ANC in the corrupt activities. We saved 40 million rand, whereby they wanted to give the so-called homelessness people 60 million rand. It went down to 20 million. We wanted to ensure that people of eThekwini get proper houses, not the falling apart one as they were built by the ANC current government. We wanted to ensure that those houses that were built in 60s and 70s that are still there in Umlazi will continue there. And we are on record whereby we wrote to a public protector to investigate such cases. You go to Wamkaka in Ward 78, the houses will be built very soon there because houses were built without proper sanitation. There was no water, there were no toilet. And that is ANC is doing in the people. And we wanted to ensure that people who would be employed in eThekwini are the proper ones, who are qualified, who ensure that they are not there to enrich themselves. And we wanted to ensure that we focus on skills development, whereby young people will get bursaries and train them and assist them in different ways, so then they will be self-help and self-reliant. Because ANC have come up with a notion whereby they wanted people to go in queue and get food parcels, rather than to train them to how to be self-help and self-reliant. But on the issue of collusion, IFP, as we talk now, we don't want to talk about it. We wanted to rule this council so then people will get leadership that will work for them.
All right. So can we assume that the IFP will go into coalition with the DA? I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
Well, that would be a decision of the national leadership.
All right. We have 15 minutes to wrap. I want us to give each party enough time to say this is exactly what we are promising. Thabani, I don't want you to speak about things like good governance and ending nepotism, all, airy-fairy type of promises. Tangibly, how will the residents of eThekwini's lives change should they vote for the ANC in November 1? You can unmute.
We have a proven track record. As I'm talking to you now, there are more than...
Thabani, you don't have a proven track record. This has been disputed.
Hold on. 27 years of promise.
Let me tell you, as we speak to you now, there are 650,000 households in informal settlement who are getting waste collection services.
Informal
settlement. That's the bare minimum. That's the bare minimum, Thabani. That is what you have to do.
Yes. But that is service delivery. Secondly, there are wards and communities where we've built proper houses. They are there. You can go in those wards. As we have mentioned, go to Mlazi, go to Lamontville, go to Konopia. Those houses have been delivered by the ANC and will continue to do more. If you go to Amakuta now, Adams, Ward 67, we have delivered houses for people living with disabilities. It's an achievement by the ANC on housing. Then we have provided water, free basic services. 80% of the poor people in the eThekwini are getting free water provided by the ANC. Now, if we win, as we're going to win in the first, we'll continue to cover more communities. That is our commitment. Now, again, we have pledged and committed ourselves to fight corruption as we've started. There's evidence where one of our own have done something wrong, the ANC has acted.
Promoted.
Now, again, if you see around the city, we've admitted that not everything went well. There are still some challenges around issues of potholes.
Yes.
Issues of
what
electricity.
Are you going to do better, though? Let's talk about what you're going to deliver, the deliverables. Let's not talk about the apology for the past. What is the deliverables that you are promising voters come November 1?
I'm mentioning those specific things. That one of the things is to address issues of potholes, fixing our parks to make sure that they are safe, and improve the issue of fighting crime, not only in the CPD, but in the whole municipality, working with the police and other stakeholders. Those are the issues we are going to deliver. I've mentioned some of them earlier. That will continue with the work that they've done so far in providing quality of services in the eThekwini municipality.
All right, Nicole, should voters vote for the DA, what will a DA-run eThekwini municipality look like?
First of all, I want to say, Qaanitah, that, you know, politics and local government is a game of leadership. And I don't want to be personal, and I don't want to be nasty, but Mr. Nyawose is number 1 on the ANC's list in eThekwini. This is a city of 4 million people, and this is the best candidate that the ANC has. So if this is the promise of a better future, I think that we are seriously in trouble. But the good news is that the ANC are going to come under 50% in this election. The writing is on the wall, their campaign is in tatters, and the polling is quite clear about this. The ANC are going to come under 50%. What the DA offers residents of the city is a government that can actually deliver. We are the only political party in this country that has a track record of getting into government and doing things better and spending public money in the interests of the people in that particular sphere of government. So what we really want to do in this municipality is, 1, get the basics right. That is the primary job of local government. It's to deliver services sustainably and in the way that improves the lives of people. And that's not rocket science. It takes commitment, it takes the right people in the right positions, and it takes a good rollout of your budget. The second thing is that we need to start utilizing innovation and partnerships with the private sector and civil society to grow our economy and to start thinking outside the box. We live with huge challenges in our society, but we've shown that where we govern, we can think outside the box and get things done. The third thing is that we need to start transforming our society, and that is done through the proper rollout of things like public transport and housing. On both counts, the municipality is in very serious trouble. We can get those public transport systems working, we can get them moving. What people need to consider in the city is what kind of government they want to see. Do they want to see the ANC at 45% or 44% with a group of minority parties scrambling to get it together? Or do they want a new majority coalition that can put their needs first and get things done? That is what the DA offers them, and that's what they should vote for on the 1st of November.
All right, Vusi, your promise to voters, this is not about reflecting about the failures of the ANC, but what are you going to do if you are the government come November 2?
Yeah, no, we're not going to even bother ourselves with the ANC. It's been 27 years of promises. The ANC is supposed to be saying this is what we've done, but they're still going there and saying give us another chance 27 years later. We're not even going to bother. In terms of the DA, the DA, they failed. Go to Langa, Nyanga, KwaNobuhle in Cape Town, where they claim to be governing. Black people there are not enjoying the benefits. They'll be in Camps Bay and everywhere else, but not in KwaNobuhle, Nyanga, Langa. It's a fact, it's there. The IFP, where it governs, go to Lundi, Nongoma, Ngutu. People still fetch water from the rivers, and they've been in power forever. Here's what the EFF will do. Firstly, the EFF, immediately when we assume power, will do away with tenders so that we cut away corruption, insource all the workers so that we create permanent and stable and secure jobs. We will rejuvenate the water infrastructure and ensure that qualified people are engaged by the municipality in terms of ensuring that we reduce loss of water, which cost the municipality a lot of money. We'll ensure that the roads in the rural areas of Durban, be it Wat 101, Wat 98, etc., are tarred so that everybody enjoys a tarred road. We will ensure maintenance of the current infrastructure, because it won't help you to be building a new infrastructure when you are not maintaining what is already there. It's a waste of time. In terms of the social cohesion must be forced here. You can't beg people to coexist with others. That is why we are coming up with a system of human settlement where we are going to do away with apartheid special planning, where we are going to take social housing into all these affluent suburbs. The rich must have nowhere to run, but we are going to take social housing into those areas so that the workers can walk to work and walk home instead of spending all their money in transit and on transport. EFF is going to create a very clear and clean governance in eThekwini, make sure that all the corrupt are put in prison and they never get a chance to come anywhere near governance again. And EFF is going to defeat the ANC, win this municipality. Once we kill the ANC, I mean, figuratively, politically, that is, in eThekwini, come 2024, they are out in the province because that's where they're stealing most of the money and funding themselves throughout the province. Thank you.
You just heard an ambitious plan by the EFF. What's your plan should you?
Well, it's an ambitious plan, but unfortunately, it's a leader of the province. He does not even know that his councillors are not saying a word in this council. So you can't tell people of eThekwini that we are going to win, whereas you have not represented them for 5 years. I wanted to emphasize that as IFP, we wanted to ensure that when we come in, we will do away with RMS billing system because it's a mess. It's taking a lot of money from the taxpayers. It's also killing people. They pay a lot of money unnecessary. And we wanted to ensure that people get proper houses, not the falling apart that has been built in these years by the ANC. And people of eThekwini are not safe. We have more than 2,000 metropolis. IFP will ensure that the metropolis are visible and work with SAPS and also other stakeholders to ensure that people of eThekwini are safe and profile these people who are sleeping in the verandas and begging in all the corners of eThekwini because they are the ones who are involved in the criminal activities. And those people who are being selling wunga and also drugs to these people, we need to ensure that we root out the core whereby people they get these drugs. And we wanted to ensure that we put more money for the infrastructure. The infrastructure of eThekwini is aging. That's why people of eThekwini don't have water. For past 6 months, sometimes they live without water because the infrastructure is aging. And ensure that we connect everyone into electricity so then no one will steal electricity. By doing so, the municipality will then achieve a lot of money because people will buy electricity. And it is not a right thing whereby you see people still protesting, yet eThekwini is controlling 5.3 billion. It means there is something wrong about the ruling party. Vote for IFP, you will see a leadership of integrity. Thank you.
Thank you all for that. As we wrap up now, just very, very quickly, I want to talk about a very important issue as we literally have 2 minutes to go, but I think we can't end this discussion without talking about it. And that is the topic of voter apathy. People are there's more voter apathy now than any other elections, as per poll predictions. People are just not interested in voting as a result of, probably despondency in politics generally. And eThekwini showed those type of indications in the voter registration weekend where people just didn't show up. And very quickly, when I say very quickly, I mean less than 30 seconds, if we could go around the room and say, why should people vote? Thabani, very quickly. Unmute. You were saying?
Yes, I'm saying people of eThekwini should vote for the ANC for the experience and the work we've done so far, of which those achievements are tangible. If you go around eThekwini, you can see what the ANC have done. We need a mandate to continue to deliver services to everyone. People
Nicole,
should go and vote.
Nicole, why must people turn out to the polls on November 1?
The reality is that politics, especially local government politics, affects every aspect of your life. And even if you're not interested in it or you don't like it, it's still going to affect you. So the more people take an interest in what happens and make their voice heard, the quicker things can change. That's the reality of it. You have to make your voice heard.
Fusi, how are you convincing people to not stay at home and to turn out at the polls?
We've run a very good campaign. Everybody can see that only the EFF could pull crowds. We've activated everyone. We are ready. People are ready to go out there and vote for the EFF. We are ready. We are proud that our people are going to go out in numbers for one reason and one reason only: remove the ANC, install the EFF to change your lives, land and jobs, mind now.
And finally, what is the danger if people don't turn out on Monday?
Well, it is very generous. We understand that they are despondent because there were so many promises that were not fulfilled. But for them not to go to vote, they will allow the very same ANC who have not rendered services to them. So they need to go and change the leadership. In fact, the change of leadership is not just needed, it is a must. So then people will see the change and vote for IFP on the 1st of November.
All right. Thank you all for your time. From the EFF, we had Vusi Khoza. From the ANC, Thabani Nyawuse. The DA, Nicole Graham. And from the IFP, Mdu Nkosi. This has been an insightful, robust, and informative discussion. Thank you very much for watching. You can follow News 24 elections coverage on news24.com/elections. Thank you and good day.